Perfect. Perfect.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Isn't It Crazy podcast. Today, I want to talk about why I quit my job 2 weeks ago. 6 months ago, I actually woke up and I had no desire to be a male stripper anymore. And I thought the best case scenario was I was going to quit. So tell your moms and your grandmas that the Long Dick Bandit has retired. I know it's a crushing blow, but I'm sure they'll bring in another sexy Latin to cover for me. I'm totally kidding. I worked at a wheel shop and it was 12 hours hard labor. Chicago Wheels, shout out to Chicago Wheels for giving me the opportunities that they did. I made good money, but one day, 6 months ago, I woke up and I just didn't want to go anymore. I resented the fact that I had to go. A job that once was fun for me became so mundane and repetitive, and I could do it without even having to think about it. I would space out. I'd put my headphones on and I would be thinking about what I would do if I could just have $10 million and just do whatever I wanted. So I wanted to quit that day. And instead of quitting, I went on YouTube and just searched up what should I do if I want to quit my job or lost my job. And they said you should save up 6 months worth of your salary and pretty much try to live off that till you find a better job or find something that you want to do. So that's what I did. So for the next 6 months, I started saving everything I could, anywhere I could. And yes, there was times where I went to the bar and bought Ari too many drinks, and he got too drunk and ended up crying. I'm sure nobody's gonna hear that. So it made a couple dents, and there was ups and downs. And the closer it got to the date, I thought, what am I gonna do? Am I really gonna do this? Am I really gonna quit my job? But I just kept reminding myself that I hated it. And the moment I started saving was the moment I started waking up again and going to work because I saw a light at the end of the tunnel. A thing where every morning I'd wake up and I hated the fact that I had to go. So come June 1st, I quit my job and I was kind of sad to leave. I think as a man, we want to provide for our families and we want to say that there's a stigma to not having a job. There's a stigma saying that if you don't have a job, you're a loser, that if you don't have a job, you're just a nobody. But I didn't feel like that. I felt like I was doing something for the betterment of my life. So the last 2 weeks, I've been waking up, and just last week, I was in the car and I was just driving, and I remember thinking to myself, I could do whatever I want tomorrow, and nobody can stop me. I can go to Chicago, sit on a rooftop. I could go to the beach. I could just stay in my room and play video games all day or make a podcast. And it's a good feeling, you know. I know it's not gonna last. I only have enough funds for 3 months, and then I gotta get another job. So this thought that I quit my job to start a podcast is not true. I think if I quit my job and did a podcast, I'd be poor, and that's definitely not a good idea. But say you're sitting in your office or in a warehouse right now, thinking about maybe you don't like your job. What should you do? And I think you should save up as much as you can. Like put down a piece of paper and write all your expenses monthly, your car, your rent, your electricities. I know I don't have kids. I don't have a lot of responsibilities that I would say are demanding. So it might be harder for people with kids and stuff like that. But if you don't have kids and you're just, I know I'm like pounding that home that if you have kids, it's impossible. It's not impossible. I've seen my girlfriend manage having a kid and that's another episode. I will talk about dating a baby mama, and she manages it so well. For her being by herself, she makes it work, and I'm I admire that about her. So if you have kids and you're thinking I can't quit my job or I can't, you can do it. Anything's possible if you're willing to sacrifice. Maybe not spending so much money on things you don't need. I noticed that I spend a lot on going out and eating out and just random stuff that I didn't need. Maybe another pair of shoes that I definitely didn't need, you know? So you could save, try to cut down on whatever you don't need to spend. Make a list of all the things that you need to pay every month and say you want to take 3 months off, right? You make a list of what you need to pay monthly, times that by three, there you go. Also, save up for unexpected emergencies and just spending money. Once you have that down and you know you want to quit your job because you hate your job, there that light at the end of the tunnel turns on. It's not a dead end job anymore, and you're pushing towards that. And it's exciting because then you start thinking, well, what am I gonna do with my time off? What am I gonna what can I focus on? Maybe it's focusing on more on your kids. Maybe it's focusing on something you want a passion project that you have. For me, it was a podcast and I love doing it. I learned so much and it's exciting for me. It's challenging for me. I know it's not the best podcast right now because of the sound and maybe the way I talk, but with time, I think if I'm focusing on this, it's only going to get better. And I like doing it. I like putting up, making the graphics to put up and say, hey, my new episode is up. So I found something that I like to do. And I'm not doing it for the money. When I left, everybody told me I was dumb for leaving because out of everybody in the company, and this is not bragging, we made the most money. And a lot of people thought it was unfair that we made that much money. They didn't understand how hard we were working. But to see somebody quit, it seemed kind of ungrateful. And I was called dumb. I was called I s- they said I hope I failed and I knew I was going to quit and I didn't care about the money. Never do anything for the money. You're pretty much selling your soul. Money to me is important because you need to pay for bills and stuff like that. Money makes the world go round. Money's in everything. So you do that. You definitely need money, but at the same time, don't kill yourself for money because at the end of the day, are you gonna become a better person just because you had millions of dollars, or are you gonna become a better person because you spend time with your kids or your family and you did what you want? Like live a good life, not just live a life. Some people live paycheck to paycheck and they never do anything exciting with their lives because they're trapped in this I have to pay this and that and I'm working a shitty job. And once you break free, it's scary because you don't have that safety net of a paycheck coming next week. It's terrifying for me to think that that I got my last paycheck 2 days ago and it was a decent paycheck and I already had implemented that into my plan. So it was already accounted for. But now I'm like in the open water and it's either sink or swim. And for the next 3 months, I don't have to worry about that. After that, I'm going to start worrying a little bit about it, but I should start looking for a job. And since I was 16, I've worked everywhere. You know, I came here as an immigrant and I thought to myself, my mom didn't have a lot. And when I was 16, she told me, go find a job. 2 weeks later, I had one. I worked at Wendy's and shout out to Wendy's for giving me an opportunity that I didn't even know how to get a job. I literally just walked in and they gave me one. So ever since then, I've been working Wendy's, fast food, Motorola, places that a lot of people don't. They think they're too good for. You're not too good to work for McDonald's. It's a paycheck. Those people are hardworking people. So I don't really care where I go find a job. If it's decent pay, I'll make it work. But for now, I feel like I found something that I really like to do. And if you hate your job, you should probably do that too, you know? Don't stop living paycheck to paycheck and being miserable. My attitude has changed because I don't have to stress about something that I shouldn't have to stress about in the first place. I'm happier, kind of stress free, and it's a good feeling to do something that you want to do. So that's the plan. You save up, you take some time off, find out what you want to do, and you do that. And whether there's money involved in it or there's not, just do it because you love to, you know. Find a way to make money, like get a job and just do that plus whatever you do. And one day maybe you'll make a lot of money from it. I don't expect to make a lot of money off this podcast. I just like doing it like that. And so the plan here to quit your job would be save up 6 months salary, cut down on the things that you don't need to buy, and make a list of the things you have to pay, rent, car, everything. Um, Pretty much make a budget and then times that by whatever time you want to get out, have free time, and figure out what you want to do. It's scary and it's unconventional, and a lot of people will call you dumb, but the moment you do it, the moment you're free and you're in that open water, it's a good feeling. It's you're finally, you feel like you're moving forward. You don't feel like you're doing something over and over again. Um, don't worry about the money. I think the money's if you worry about the money, you're already dead. I truly believe that. If the single purpose that you're here on earth is because you want to accumulate all the money you want, one, you're not going to make a lot of money. And two, you're dead. You're not living your life. You're living it for somebody else. You're making somebody else richer. You're making somebody else happy. You know, that person found his passion and he just found some other people to do it for him while he goes and does another project, you know. Um, I think a good leader leads in front of the pack, but at the same time, that guy's eating the most. So find what you want to do and do that. And screw that job. Fuck that job. You know, I shout out to Chicago Wheels for giving me everything that I have, but at a certain point, I had to move on. So I suggest you do that too. Now I want to move on to sports. Now I want to move on to sports. And last night, the Drake curse is over now. Everybody said the Drake curse was the worst curse in sports, and for a long time it fucked me up because he would support Connor and Connor would get his shit kicked in, and I think he supported other people, but I don't remember who else. I just remember the Connor one. I remember there's a picture of him holding the Irish flag and Connor's like in a fighting pose, and I was just thinking, fuck, this guy lost already. Oh, it was the Kentucky Wildcats. I think they lost too, but last night that's all over with. The Toronto Raptors won their first championship, and I'm kind of glad they did. You know, the Golden State Warriors, they have too many, and they wanted it. They came out. Kyle Lowry had 4 shots, 3 of 3 and 1 of 2 in the first 2 minutes of the game. This guy came out shooting, punched him in the mouth, and he set the tone for everybody. Like, this is our time. Like, we're not gonna let it go to Game 7. We're not gonna blow a 3-1 lead like these losers did a couple years back. And he came out firing, and I was in my house and I was thinking they won, like they won it too hard. It did slow down in the middle of the game, and then it got really competitive, and the Golden State Warriors did come back. And I'll talk about the Clay injury more, but right now the Raptors won their first championship, and congratulations to them. I'm sure none of them are gonna hear this, but you know, you have to, when somebody wins, when somebody achieves something, I believe you have to give them their props. You know, there's things that are hard, and these guys did it. You know, they overcame the odds, and they were the underdogs, And even when KD was out, they were still everybody was picking the Warriors to win. I thought the Warriors were gonna win, and they came out on top. So I'm just glad my boy Kawhi got his championship and he was happy. And if you see the celebration at the end, this guy didn't celebrate, whizzed and crazy. You know what I mean? Like he celebrated at the end. He didn't celebrate after every win. He didn't get cocky. He just wanted to play a game and win and be the best. And that's something you have to admire. And that's something a lot of these guys in the NBA do not have. They get money and they get cocky and they think they're the best. And then here comes Shy, trailblazer driving Kawhi, and punches him in the fucking mouth. And he's on top. And I respect that. And I admire that. And I look up to that. So shout out to them. And as far as the Klay Thompson injury, it didn't look that bad. Everybody at Buffalo Wild Wings was going like, "Oh my god!" But I guess it was bad. It was an ACL tear, and I think that's what Derrick Rose got. I'm not sure, but why would you make that public? You're a free agent this year, and his agent told the ESPN guy that he tore his ACL. They could have played it down and had other teams like bet what actually happened. But to put it out there, who's Clay gonna play? Like, what are you guys reporting this for? The fuck? Maybe if there was another game 7, you could say, hey, he has an ACL tear, he's not gonna play the next game. But who needs to know now? You're just fucking yourself. Either KD and Clay are gonna stay in the Golden State Warriors because of their injuries. I don't see any other teams trying to get him, especially not KD. KD's going to be out for a whole year with the Achilles tendon, and what team's going to want that? They're investing. KD's going to want a lot of money, and Clay's going to want a max, and they're both injured. Why would your agent put you out like that? I think that was a bad move for the agent, and I guess it was pretty bad. But he came back, and that takes guts. He came back and shot 2 free throws, and then ran back. I think their mentality was, if I quit now, they're gonna blame me. He was hot. He was shooting insanely good. And I think if he would have stayed in the game, it would have been a more competitive game. And maybe the Raptors would be preparing for a game 7, but things work out the way they work out. And it's just a wrong move for them. They did him so dirty right there. I guess I don't know shit about being an agent. Maybe there's an angle they're working, but I don't see it working out for Clay. I think they're both gonna stay. That's the most money you're gonna get from Golden State. Golden State loves them. I once heard on a sports show that they said the team that drafts you is the one that loves you the most. Other than that, if you get traded, that team didn't go fight for you. They didn't go pick you. So they don't really their care level is lower than the team that drafted you. So other if you're KD, then the Golden State actually do care. But with Clay, I don't think a lot of teams are gonna care. If he's injured, if it becomes a persistent injury like Derrick Rose, eh, say goodbye to that max, dude. Like you should fire your agent, huh? But I hope they stay in Golden State now that they have this motive to go because they lost and they want to win again. And there's a fire that got lit under their bellies to regain the throne, I guess you could say. But we'll just have to wait to see next year and free agency in the summer. So we'll see. Other than that, Tyson Fury and Tom Schwarz are going to be fighting on Saturday. And I saw some of the highlights for Tom Schwarz, and this guy is impossible. He just keeps going forward. He throws big punches, and a lot of the guys he knocked out were just kind of just stood there. There's no movement in them. This guy was just teeing off on them. Maybe it's just a heavyweight class that just becomes slower and they think they could take the punches and they're just looking for a huge haymaker. But him fighting Tyson Fury is not going to be like that. Tyson Fury likes to move around and he's a point fighter. This guy's not going to stand and bang with you, and he has a chin. We saw that with Deontay Wilder. He got knocked out in the 12th round, and he still got up. So I don't see this guy winning. And I don't think it's kind of hard to say that because Reese beat what's his name, Joshua, in such an upset fight. You can't be too certain in the fight game that these guys are gonna completely lose. There's no certainty that these guys are done for. But I could see Tom Schwartz losing this, and I think they're just giving Tom, not Tom Fury, Tyson Fury this go ahead fight to set up something bigger. I don't know what ESPN has. They don't really have a big lineup for the heavyweight. They don't really have anything, but they're just starting off, so I could see them doing that. Um, as a collab with Showtime and him fighting Deontay Wilder again, I don't see that happening either. I was reading the news clips today, and he was denying every single thing that Deontay said about a rematch. So I don't know. Maybe they're going in a different direction. I want to see that more than I want to see the Anthony Joshua fight. But if Ruiz could do that to Anthony Joshua, Tyson's just going to do 10 times worse. And Tyson has more range, more power, and he's just a better boxer than Anthony Joshua. And I know a lot of people are going to say, no, Anthony Joshua's a point fighter and he's a better boxer. He knows more of his basics, but all that doesn't matter if you got knockout power, right? Just ask Breeze, or I don't remember. The last guy Deontay beat, he fucked him up in first round. It took Joshua 6 rounds to beat this same dude. So there's definitely a gap between Joshua and Fury, but and Wilder. So Wilder and Fury would be the fight. It kind of ended controversially. Deontay should have won, but that's the fight to watch. And hopefully they could figure something out. Hopefully Tyson Fury just steamrolls past Tom. But that's all I got for sports. All right, so let's move on to current topics. Today I want to talk about the airlines, the fucking airlines, those monopoly heavy motherfuckers. Do you ever like sign up to go on like Expedia and they tell you, oh, you're gonna pay 230 for a plane ride or whatever, and once you get to the check-in line, they want $45 for a bag. They want $12 to get your seats, and Jesus, just why don't you just explain that all in the fucking air ticket? And because the price goes up higher, it's so stupid. But they don't give a fuck. And complaining is not gonna help. They have a monopoly. I think if you think I'm just gonna go to Spirit because United doesn't want to accommodate me for something, Spirit and United, I think, are the same fucking company. They're just sister companies that use older planes. That's why the newer planes on United cost a lot more. And Spirit is just like, so you get the travel coach bus, which is like you have a nice plush seat and it's a big bus, it's got big windows, or you got the Greyhound. But the coach bus company owns the fucking Greyhound. So if you complain and say you're gonna go to another company, they just go, bitch, go ahead. We're gonna get your money anyways. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. So I want to talk about that because I am currently about to go to Cancun, and these motherfuckers just charged us $240 more to pick our seats and for the luggage we're gonna take, and that was not included in any of the fucking price tag that we paid. So if you don't have the money for that, you're fucked. You're like, what am I gonna do? Just travel with a fucking backpack and sit in the fucking toilet in the airplane? Like, so you just pay whatever? Like, what do they do then? Do they just tell you like, oh, here's your refund? Like, if you can't give us more money, you can't fly with us? That really sucks. So I think they should do something about the airlines having a monopoly. Maybe bring in people. I remember watching a video where they explained why they couldn't. They said that it was just a lot of investment that a new company had to come up with to just make up the planes that they had to buy and the infrastructure, and they just couldn't compete with the big companies. But I mean, they're really fucking us on all that. Maybe we could pass a law that says that they have to give us all the charges up front, and then you choose between competing. They do have a little bit of competition, but it's not a lot, because what if you're going to some no spotty town where it's just like 1,000 people there, and United's the only one that flies there. What are you gonna do? Not fly with United? You're gonna go because you need to go, and they know you. They got you by the balls. It's just a little rant that I'm going through right now because they're assholes, and maybe if enough of us complain about it, they would actually do something about it. But I'm not even sure that's even possible. But other than that, in trending topics today, I heard Robert Downey Jr. No, that's Iron Man. Goodin Cuba Jr. Something like that. The guy from Radio. If we all remember him, he just got alleged of groping two girls, and he had to turn himself in. That's what guys are going to jail for, because they grabbed somebody. Isn't that like a ticket? I don't know. I think you should always believe the girls who accuse, but at the same time, like, do we have to make a spectacle out of this where this guy's getting arrested and turning himself in and it's sexual harassment? Yes, he should pay a lot of money if he did that. They should sue the shit out of him, but can't they just go about it in a silent way? Like, I get that the girls want to get their voice heard and say like they should stop and have fear in other men, but if you're raping, if you're doing what Harvey Weinstein did, what if you're doing something heinous like forcing girls to have sex with you? If you, when you're a movie star, I think you have this mentality that you could get any girl you want. At least that's what it comes off as in the movies and interviews. And maybe these girls hooked up with him and now they're saying they groped him. I'm not saying I don't believe them, but at the same time, like, you're ruining somebody's reputation. Like, you're going publicly and for a small thing like groping, maybe it made them uncomfortable, but they didn't get raped. And if you do get raped, sure, go out and tell the world this disgusting person did that to me. Like this, they're not humans. I think they're animals. I think they're below us. If you rape somebody, if you force somebody to do something they don't want, you're scarring them for life and stuff like that. So I think you have to like go about different ways in different situations. I remember the Aziz Ansari part was he hooked up with a girl and he pushed too hard while they were hooking up. Like, he's like, you gotta do this and that to me, and she just didn't feel comfortable, and she went out and told everybody. But it wasn't like this wasn't a consensual thing. These both parties agreed to do what they were doing, and then she still went out and ruined his reputation a little bit. So, and now you the Me Too movement and all that, girls are getting kind of crazy with it. Like, some girls are accusing guys just because it's the thing to do, not because they should, because it's the thing to do, and it sometimes it's not even real. And I think those girls should go to jail. If you could, if you get a fine for putting up a false police report, you should go to jail for accusing somebody of something they didn't do. If that, like, you were like, oh, okay, well, I was just mad and I made it up, you should probably go to jail, right? And vice versa. If the guy actually did it, he should go to jail, right? You don't do that stuff, and I think jail time would discourage more people, more guys to doing that. But I think the groping scandal with Cuba Goodin Jr. That's his name. It's a little ridiculous, right? They could have settled this in civil court. They could have sued him for all the money, but they could have made it public. They should make it public. They should be let it be known that guys don't do anything that a girl wouldn't want you to do. But to do this whole thing where he shows up and he gets arrested and there's cameras outside, you're fucking this dude up. People look at him differently, you know. So I think he deserves what he gets if he actually did. And but to put it out like that was just completely wrong. Other than that, I don't. That's the end of the podcast. I know I went on two rants right there, and my bad. But sometimes I just like to have my complaints heard, I guess. Um. So please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.